Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Victus is here. Today I'm going to talk about Manor Lords because it's definitely one of the most anticipated city builders RTS medieval games since a lot of time. This game has been announced and there is a lot of expectations, mostly on the Total War community, because we came from a very nice and beautiful game that is historical, and with these Manor Lords, perhaps we're going to get what we are trying to find, and we can't in nowadays Total Wars. So I'm going to be watching 3 videos here. The videos are from the Manor Lords YouTube page. You can go to the YouTube page and enjoy them yourself. So the first thing we're going to do is to hit play. We're going to see it and then we're going to talk about it. So here we are in the first video. This is the announcement trailer for medieval RTS city builder Manor Lords. So let's get on with it and let's see what is this, and we're going to see some of the features that are going to be present on this game. Now at the beginning we see the world. It's basically a very beautiful engine that is going to reflect trees, vegetation, snow, and a lot of mountains we see. So if you came from games like, for example, I can remember, this has a feeling of that game, even though it's completely different, that game, Jurassic World Evolution, in which you have this vegetation banished as well. So let's continue here. Now we can see all the people working on their chores, like this guy cutting a log of a tree. So we're going to see that thing as well. We see this guy recollecting some sort of I think this is stone, or could be flint recollection, which is going to be an interesting thing as well to create weapons and stuff. This guy is treating, I believe, a stone. Then we have the building, like the guys moving and bringing the logs, so it's going to be pretty much in real time, I believe. Now, this thing is interesting. The organic feeling of building the actual structure. I haven't seen this in another city builder. So it has a very organic building in which you can bend the actual road, and the way you place the buildings, it's pretty neat. I have played a lot of city builders, trust me, and this one looks very organic. Okay, here we see the building of this sort of watchtower, and we can see how the progress goes on. Now, up to this point, I would like to see a way to make this faster, because there are some city builders that you just have to stay and stick with the building, with the process of the building being built. Let me see here. Here we see the whole process going on, which is pretty beautiful. Then we see the final stages of the building. We see a very dark ages coming from the rural and pastoral agricultural societies of Europe. Then we see the detail here of this woman cleaning the clothes. It's very nice. I think those details are important in this type of new games, that we're trying to find something that is going to give us something different, a little bit of details. Now, so far so good. As far as I can see, the structures are very, very realistic. So they look very, very nice. Okay, several things here. I'm going to go here with these situations. Here we see the guy coming from perhaps a merchant. This perhaps is a merchant that is going to bring goods into the city. That's something good. We see a flag here. Hopefully these flags are going to be... I think I have seen videos in which these flags are you can do custom flags or stuff like that. Here we see some sort of depiction of hunting. So basically the peasants that are going to be archers are going to go and hunt. Let's remember that in this game we have as well combat, which we are going to see. There we go. Here is the hunting. So we see that archer just hunt this elk. Interesting as well. We see that this guy is peeling the actual game. And here we see eventually the selling of those hides, which is pretty good. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. Eventually, the cart that I was mentioning is the guy that is going to sell the food. Now here we see the actual ox and how the land is going to be treated. We see rain in here. We see mills. Interesting. Now we're going to start the area of the combat, but I'm going to go a little bit here and confirming that this should be a guy that is going to trade. That is one thing. We can see here Farm Vile, which is an area that is the area that is going to be used for farming. And we see agriculture here with the ox pulling the plow there. Then, as I mentioned before, we have these, which is very interesting to have in the game. We have as well sheep, so we can get wool from them and stuff like that. It's already showing us what type of resources we could get. The fact that this thing is now without people selling things tells me that perhaps there should be a way to a system in which the guys are going to sleep. I'm not sure about that. It could be nice to see that. Or as well as you see in other games, that you can tell these guys that are working in some places to go to other places. That happens in Banished. You have the other game that is very Dawn of Men. It's a very nice one as well. It has a lot of interesting stuff. I think here they are implementing a lot of the best stuff. So now let's go to the combat. Okay, let me point out the first thing that I see here is that we are going to have 3 types of units. Right off the bat, we have the heavy infantry units that are going to be the guys with the shields, broadswords, and the actual metal. Then we see over here, we see the spearmen. These are going to be perhaps treated as light. Not like these men-at-arms, but light infantry or spear infantry, and then we have the archers. As far as I can see, these 3 are pretty much the basic ones that you can find in any simulator that is going to depict the medieval ages. We have these archers. These archers look as if they are using longbows. So I'm not sure how fast you're going to go through the ages, but these guys are looking pretty much as if they are high Middle Ages, because they have this type of helmet that is not going to be seen up to the high Middle Ages. Then we have these guys, which are the normal spearmen and the longbow archers here. Now we're going to see a little bit of a combat here. A nice detail here. You can see the arrows flying, and they have, now if they have achieved this amazing feeling of weightiness on the actual arrows when they fly, this is something amazing. This is something good. 100% this is going to be something that I would like to play. Here we see a couple of armies. This is perhaps one army that is the same as the other spearmen here, and perhaps these guys are from one village and the other guys are from the other village. I have seen videos in which you can actually customize each of the actual soldiers. Now here we see the more advanced troops, heavy troops with full plate. This is heavy troops that are going to be, as I mentioned before, something that are going to be characteristic for the High Middle Ages, and they have hammers on their hammers and halberds, bills, what it's called. Now the way they run is very natural. It's very nice. Now if we see this, then we start seeing a very familiar thing for us, because if you see the way they are giving the orders here, it's very similar to Total War. You can see how the mouse is giving the order here to spread, and the line looks like the Total War games. The fact that they have this small icon over them, it's something that shows off that they have been inspired by Total War. Then we see a charge here. Now this is something that we are willing to see in anything that depicts this type of clashes in the medieval times. We always wanted to see this type of physics that is to two groups of people armed with spears and swords and shields clashing, and having this feeling of actual wall, that is the shield wall that they are forming. And then here it feels very organic, and it feels very well done, the physics of the fighting, pushing and hitting the opponent with their weapons. It looks very natural. Okay, now that we have seen that was the introduction of the actual game. It had a lot of alpha footage. Now we're going to go in the same Manor Lords YouTube channel. We're going to see the gameplay overview of their medieval RTS city builder.
Welcome to Manor Lords.
Let's get to work!
In this video, I'd like to introduce you to some of the core mechanics of the game, including regional development, trade, and military recruitment.
We need more workers here.
The map in Manor Lords is divided into regions. Each region has its own resources, as well as a development tree.
Okay, let me just pause here, because this is the intro, and the intro is showing us how how is it expected to be the city building. So as far as we can see, we can understand that you can build the actual, this is the amount of resources that is going to use. And then you have the blueprints here that you can see. Now it's building it. And I'm just going to mute him a little bit, because I want to show you here the thing that is important here. This is the unassigned population list, and you have the name, unassigned, and building. Now this is something that I was talking about before. This is the fact that is using the same system as some of the previous city builders, historical ones that I have mentioned here. One of those is Banished, and the other one is Dawn of Men. Obviously, we can see here that you can assign to each building, transporting. It could be either both of them. They could just build or transport. So this is something to take into account here. Over here, we can barely see. I don't know if you are able to see up here. There are the resources. We have stone. We have as well wood, logs. We have as well, I think, iron. We have perhaps... there are hides, I believe, and we have as well the ability to recollect plants, fruits, or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, we can see assignations for some of the guys that are on the population to some areas, I believe, to building and constructions and stuff like that. So that is pretty neat. Let's continue watching this. Then we have here we see that it's saying that this guy is going to the logging camp, and then we have the other guys that are building or transporting. Over here we see the carpenter camp, something that shows us a people and a picture of the actual place. What is that? I just saw something. Add worker. So this is the area in which you can add the actual workers to the actual building. So let's continue here. We're going to see the next section, to hear the next section, and then we're going to analyze it.
The map in Manor Lords is divided into regions. Each region has its own resources, as well as a development tree. When you upgrade the residential buildings in the region, you get development points, which you can spend to unlock new development branches.
Okay, so let's go again here, and let's talk about this. So it's saying that you're going to have these regions. Now, obviously, this doesn't look a little bit or in any shape or form something that is historical. It's not that we are in some place in Europe. I think these are procedurally generated. This is very random. Wing stamp, dwellment, here we see middle folk. But it's telling us that you're going to be able to have regions, and then you can develop each of these regions. You have the diplomacy. Obviously, we see here a way to do diplomacy with other guys. Perhaps this thing, I will assume that this is the area that is controlled by this guy, and this is the area that is controlled by this one. And we, as the player, we control some other parts of the regions. Then we see that, yeah, it's showing us the resources, and then it's showing us the region. Is that the region? I just missed that. The region development. So yeah. Then in this area we see the regional development. So apparently this is the locked areas that we can develop. Over here, ale production, new building, serving peasants. There's a little bit of a description here, one of which we can see perhaps sheep herding, and then we see hunting over here, gathering of fruits and berries, mushrooms, stuff like that. Deforestation over here, we can see smith here, some sort of building of different stuff, butchering. So here we develop the actual areas. So what I believe is that each area, we can see at the limitation here, this is perhaps the area that is separating one from the other one. Here is requirements for the production of this building. And then we see here information of transporting the resources. So this means that it's getting built, and then we see the building of the actual place. A peasant house, of course, we can see. So we can see that we can build the areas in which our population could potentially grow. And a branch unlocked. So basically when you click on the actual icon, you're going to unlock the branch, and you can confirm that. So let's get on with the next part.
This means that different regions may specialize in different things. Some may be more optimized for farming, some for mining, and some will process the resources to make expensive goods, like shoes or clothing. Depending on the optimization of your production chains, the price of the goods will change, affecting the market attractiveness.
Yeah, we're going to see production chains and stuff like that. It's pretty normal because it's a city builder.
Merchants will travel more frequently to towns that have rare and more affordable goods. These merchants are the only way to get wealth in the game. Lord's treasury, however, is split from the regional wealth. As the lord or lady, you must tax your towns and villages.
Okay, now it's going to talk about taxing, but I'm going to return here and tell my impressions here. So here we see the way we build, and it's very organic. Here we are seeing that it's delimiting the position of the actual building, and I believe that it doesn't matter what is the shape of the actual building. You are going to be able as a player to build the actual thing that you want to build. There's a lot of buildings in what I'm talking here, but yeah, you get my point. You can build regardless the shape of the actual thing. That's something good. That's something very organic. And you can assign regions for different specializations. For example, some regions could be good for farming, as we can see here. This is a building that has been made for farming. Then here we see there could be an area that is going to be specialized in mining or different sorts of, different sorts of, here we see an area that is going to be specialized for sheep. But these areas as well are delimiting the actual farming grounds. This is a tavern, obviously, and here we can see a lot of the actual, let me show you here. Here we can see a lot of the actual market resources that we have. We could have wool, ale, we see honey, wax, salt, clay, yarn, linen clothes, saddles for horses, salted meat, royal meal, candles. It's pretty much a lot of things that we have here. Light armor, tire 1. There are, of course, this is showing that we're going to have tires for heavy armor, light armor. We have barley, hope, spear, barrel. This is pretty robust indeed. Something that I have missed, I don't know. There's a lot of things here. Flax, linen, iron ore. We have woolen clothes, wooden pots, leather, hides. We saw the hides on the actual videos. Grain. And basically, these are market stalls. So you're going to put on the stalls the actual thing that you want to sell. So now he's selecting what they want to sell. Eventually, it has to be done if it's something that you have on your actual warehouse. Then you add the seller, and then we see the merchants. Now, these guys that are pulling the cart are evidently the merchants, and it says that they are the only way you can get wealth. So without these guys, there's no wealth. Apparently, these guys are the guys that are going to bring money into your area. Now it's showing here the tax building, so we're going to have taxing as well eventually. We can think something about stronghold. Stronghold is very fun because you can you can tax your population, and it has that feeling as well. I'm going to add stronghold into the feeling of this, so let's continue with the taxing thing.
Treasury, however, is split from the regional wealth. As the lord or lady, you must tax your towns and villages in order to get money for your personal endeavors. There are different taxes giving various benefits. For example, the tithe goes straight to the church, but in return, the church gives you influence.
Nice.
Every so often, the king gives out valuable rewards to the...
Now it's talking about the two other types of wealth that we have, the taxation and tithe, which is an addition here. I haven't seen tithe in other medieval city building before, but here we're going to see the tax collector, for example. We have the ability to get the geld, hergeld, the tithe, the banality, straight tax, war tax. This is very powerful here. The fact that we have the options to select what type of taxation, and they have these medieval terms here that were pretty much very well in use in that time. So we can see that we can tax silver here, percentage here for the tithe, which is for the church. And the fact that the church, by giving the tithe, the possibility for the church to get the tithe tax, and you're going to be rewarded by the church. So this means that religion is going to play an integral part of these mechanics, evidently because we are talking about here medieval times. So it has to be done like this.
Lords on the map, including new territories. You can compliment or insult other lords via the diplomacy system to affect their influence. The recruitment system in Manor Lords has been redesigned.
Now it's changed now to the recruitment system, but we're going to see a little bit of what is happening here. So it says that you have diplomacy, so you are going to be able to either to have some sort of dynamics in between the regions, and if they are controlled by other guys, you could send letters to them. Now, there is this thing that I am seeing here that is trying to do a claim. So it says that claim with influence, and this is where the influence of the actual church of this situation that was talking about. The tax of the tithe is going to the church, but in exchange the church is going to give you influence, and then you can cash that influence for claims here, as you can see. Claim with the favors or claim with influence. So there could be a lot of interesting stuff here, that even though at this point it seems that the diplomacy it's a little bit rough, but I could say that I'm pretty sure that diplomacy is going to advance in some point in the future in this game. But it's pretty robust at this point, claiming with influence, which it's claiming with the permission of the church, and claiming with favors could mean that you could send, you could give some resources and then ask for favors. So this is interesting. Then we have here is going to claim with I don't know what he's going to claim, but now he clicked. Now where did he click? He clicked in the actual region, and now it's you could do a rhetoric, proposal, or declaration. And this is interesting how this works, because it appears this letter here, and then you can choose different options here. I welcome. Now let's see, you're choosing what to say, so you're like arming the actual letter. So it says that I welcome you to these lands, and then you have, I hope our fiefdoms grow in prosperity together. I hope your fiefdom rots to hell, son, or things like that. I'm the true sovereign around here. So you can send threats and things. Actually, it says that is going to cost you things. I think it's costing you influence and favors as well, something like that. It's costing, yeah, eventually this is, to say this is going to cost 50 influence, but it says that unless recipient declares war, reduces recipient's influence. Well, interesting, very interesting. So he's saying that I'll help the fiefdoms grow, becoming friends, something like that. Okay, and now we're going to go for the battle thing, so let's see this.
Has been redesigned after some community feedback. It is now divided into 3 unit categories. First type of recruits are the peasant militia. You can call to arms the peasants from your villages. They grab whatever improvised weapons they have and join the fight.
War is coming!
This will hit your economy, and you'll need at least a couple of villages to form an army. If you want better militia, you must train them at the training camp or the archery range. The second type of recruits are mercenaries. They cost silver and a lot of it. The last type is Lord's Retinue. This is a limited, heavily armored unit that you can customize to your liking.
Great, very awesome. Now we're going to talk about this thing, because this is the more exciting part eventually for Manor Lords. We are waiting for this in all of the titles that we could imagine. So first off, I'm just going to say that I'm very excited about this, because it's explaining that apart, and I saw cavalry as well. In my previous impression, I thought that we had heavy, we had the actual heavy infantry, the spear infantry, and the longbow archers, and now we see a lot of different stuff. This video here that I'm showing here, it's more recent, and now it's telling us that we have as well different types of recruitments. We have the peasant recruitment that is going to be shown here, because we see here the peasants with their forks, and then we have, this is the mercenary recruitment that he's talking about. Sorry about that. And then we have, let me go here, that he's talking about, and then we have this is perhaps the levy recruitment. So eventually here is showing us how do you recruit. You do the recruitment with this button here that you are seeing down here. It's a little bit difficult to see. And then you are going to say peasant militia. You have peasant militia. Now, when you recruit peasant militia, we all know that peasants are shit. But if you don't have the resources to build, to buy mercenaries, or to build, for example, it's showing here a lot of stats here. Actually, I'm going to see those stats. So as I was saying, if you don't have perhaps the ability or the coin to build, to recruit mercenaries, or the ability to rise the levy, then you have the possibility to rise the peasants. And then in saying that, of course, when you recruit the peasants, it's going to be logical that you're going to lose workforce. So there's going to be no one to work on the actual resource production. So this is something very neat. And then let me see here. We have spear militia. This is the first one. We have the peasant here. What is the name of the first one? The peasant militia, which is just the guy with the lance. Now we have the spear militia. It's a little bit better with this type of stats. It has melee attack, melee range, interesting, anti-armor, charge, anti-charge. I believe the anti-charge is the ability to block the charge, the armor, the missile block, morale, and mobility. Okay, those are the stats that we have for the units. Requirements are padded armor, weapons. There are tires as well, and melee training. And it's talking about melee training, and you saw the barracks. And then we have the archer militia. Now the archers have ranged attack, missile range. It's in meters actually, and no armor, no missile block, morale, and mobility. No requirements for peasant militia, obviously. So you just select the recruitment. I believe this is the rally point. So there you go for that. You're going to have a rally point, and all the guys are going to go into this single spot. Then it's going to talk about the training, because if you saw the cards, we saw that there were some requirements. Some of those, like the spear militia and the archer militia, are going to need to come here into the barracks to train a little bit, and I think that is a very nice addition. This is the archers. This is for the archers and the other one. Then we have the hired mercenaries. Here perhaps we have a way to recruit them. Let me go slightly here. So you go here with these hand and coins. You're going to need coins, it says, to build this. So with silver you hire mercenaries, and you will have different types. It says here, interesting, Jumps Vikings, the Brotherhood of the Forest, and Flock of Crazy Goose. It's going to arrive in different areas, it says, and the time of arrival is going to have this cooldown of 28 days, 10 days. This is the no trades work in progress, and I think this is the amount of coin that you have to pay. It's pretty interesting. Then we see the stats. I'm very interested in the stats. I'm pretty sure that you guys as well. Melee attack 5, melee range 15, anti-armor, charge. These guys have charge, and they have armor, and they have morale. The same thing, but I would like to know what is this anti-armor thing. It's very interesting. And the anti-charge. Melee range, I believe it has to do with the distance, or very intrigued about this melee range. What is this melee range meaning? That is called, what is this called? The mercenary what? This is called the mercenary spearman. As well, we have the different types and the mercenary archer. And it's showing here that these guys are pretty much very well equipped, because you're paying and they already own the equipment. So here we see more of those guys with huge padded armor and helmet here. Interesting, very, very nice. And then we have the retinue quarters. Is showing here what is the building that is going to allow us to get the levies, which is pretty normal in these times. And then these are the equip retinue, and you're going to be able to, it says that to customize, but just the levy here. So you could say, okay, this is going to be the name of the unit. Then you're going to have the ability to do customize body pattern, shield pattern. There's a lot of colors here, and you can do the equipment there. You can see breastplates, spears, and you can pretty much get whatever you want here. And these are the cavalry. I'm pretty amazed by this, because we're going to see cavalry charges here. It's pretty awesome, pretty awesome. What else? Okay, we continue here.
Joining in for this short preview of Manor Lords gameplay systems. If you're interested in discussing the game, be sure to visit Manor Lords Discord and subreddit. See you all in the next video.
Now guys, here we see the combat mechanics here. It's going to be awesome. as awesome as you see. So let's go and have a look at what we get here. So the first thing we can see, individual equipment and stats. This means that we're going to be able, as far as I can see, to give them individual and specific equipment to those guys. So it's going to be very customizable. We see the ability to issue equipment for head protection, and we're going to have body protection and different options, so we can do that apparently before the battle. Here we see the ability to do that and how the unit changes. Then we have formation dragging. Now, formation dragging is something that we are accustomed in Total War games, but here it's good to have formation dragging, because if we want to have a beautiful, let's say, this type of square formation, and we want to move them like this is a very good possibility here. Waypoint system, as we can see when we remember Attila, we're going to see this waypoint system in which we're going to draw the ability, the orders, and they're going to have the ability to follow that waypoint. Then we have charge impact improvements. We already see why this game is so appealing to us, because it has this as it says, the impact mechanics are very, very well done. We can see as well that it says reworked animations. Apparently there has been, of course, a lot of progress in the animations, because eventually it's a work in progress. The animations looks very good, but are very similar to other games that I have experienced. It's something that it's not very amazing. That's at least my opinion. Height advantage. Now, something interesting here. We already know that there are height advantages in other games. By other games, I mean Total War. But here we see that these guys are moving into position, and it says that it has morale, shield wall, and stuff like that. The terrain slope is going to give, apparently it's giving +1, and there's unity on the charge as well. So this is something to take into account. When we see here that the morale is going down, the fatigue is something that is a thing here, and low ground is giving a lot of penalties here, as you can see as well. Then we have tight and loose formations. Tight and loose formations, apparently here we see the options that we have. These are the buttons that we can press, and then the units are going to follow our orders. In tight formation, slows down the unit significantly, increase melee advantage due to high unity. So apparently unity, it's a mechanic. So this is something like cohesion, and grants shield wall to shielded units. If a soldier has friends on his side, it adds their block to his, and grants impaling to immobile spear units, and reflects the enemy's charge attack. That is to reflect, the impaling is to reflect when the units have this pike wall, and it's a defense for cavalry. This is the tight formation. They are going to come closer. As you can see, they are going to march very, very tightly and very slowly. Then we have various melee stances. Apparently here is showing us a stance that is called stance push. Here we see how they are pushing these guys backwards and give ground. This is another stance. Fatigue is going to -3 for the give ground stance. The unit is going up, and the high ground is helping the unit as well. Then we have archery modes, volley and quick draw. Evidently this is representing the ability to do volley shots, and as well quick draw, which is going to shoot more quickly, and it's going to have evidently an impact on the mechanics. The whole mechanics that are unity, fatigue, and different low ground and higher ground, as we have already seen on this analysis. Then this is the most important one, tactical retreat. Tactical retreat is something that is now, I believe, in the newest Total War games. It has been implemented. I'm not sure if it's implemented in Faro. Good thing to know, because these guys have been doing and have been planning to do the tactical retreat since the beginning. And we can see that these guys are going to move in the same formation. These guys are moving backwards, and this is going to be very helpful at the time that we want to do these things, to pull the enemy backwards to make some openings. And then we have impactful weather. Evidently, if we believe that we're going to have flaming arrows, I'm not sure if we're going to have flaming arrows, but impactful weather, as you can see here, is impacting fatigue, and because it's raining, is taking a little bit of penalties here. Very, very impressive. And then of course the fatigue, and we're going to be able to see the units fatigued in the actual model. And that's another important thing. We see this knight here, he's in a bloodbath, and we see how this is a very important thing that we would like to see. So this is it. I think there is a lot to see here with Manor Lords, and I'm pretty sure that this game is going to be a complete success. And we are going to finally have a proper medieval game that we're going to enjoy, and we're going to have a lot of adventures with, and of course it's going to be perhaps something that could entertain us for a long time. Hopefully you like this commentary and analysis of the upcoming game called Manor Lords, the medieval RTS city builder. This was Victus. See you in the next one.